Howdy, this is Kevin Stoda. Welcome to Porch on the Kevin Stoda channel. And I've been away for a little bit, but I've had time to do some reading over the 4th of July. And it was a very important reading. It's again from Mother Jones magazine. And we have, in the case of Kevin Drum, an outstanding writer. And do you remember those tax cuts back in 2017 that they voted for mostly the wealthy people in the United States, but they promised what happened back there in 2017 when the Republicans made their deal. They controlled both houses and the presidency. The bottom line, says Kevin Drum, is the Trump tax cut failed to deliver for all but the very rich, and the GOP thinks that this is the perfect time to ask for more. Don't let them. Period. Campaigned on a singular promise. I'll remind you, we had similar in the late 70s and misusing it. I mean, we had good welfare stuff set up, but we were misusing it. And the government, remember, the federal deficit was soaring, and Ronald Reagan campaigned on a singular promise. He planned to cut taxes on everyone, but especially the rich. He insisted that those benefits would quickly trickle down to everyone and supercharge the economy. He wanted some social safety nets, Republicans said, and the whole plan would pay for itself. They were wrong, and the deficit skyrocketed. From college this same summer, the tax cut passed, and he continued raising them throughout his presidency. Something that this president hasn't done. Bill Clinton passed a tax increase to reduce the deficit. It would do no such thing. In fact, they set it into the surplus for 4 consecutive. And as the New York Representative Chris Collins said, you remember he's a convicted traitor, so they got it done. Man, what are these big mafia bosses that run the Republican Party, huh? Why does this matter? For 2 reasons. One, lies. We're about to have another debate over whether tax cuts can juice the economy. We know to evaluate those claims, it behooves us to look at what Republicans said about their 2017 tax cut compared to what actually happened. Spoiler alert, every single economic indicator Republicans said would go up has not. Namely, that American corporations pay the size the 2017 bill contained. That's where most of it went. Faced a cognitive dissonance, where the United States had if you look at actual corporate tax revenue, it turns out the United States has been pretty friendly for business. The real corporate tax rate is middling. The U.S. tied for dead last in how much of the GDP, gross domestic product, goes to taxes. This was no secret. So to justify cutting a laundry list of reasons, it would be good for the economy, and that's when the lies started piling up. Don't let them do it again. And more than that, we have to fix this. We cannot continue to play what's been going on since Reagan. Number one, okay, the first and most fundamental logic behind the Republican tax cut, remember, the predictions said it would promote economic growth and higher tax revenues. According to academic language in a paper published by the White House Council of Economic Growth and Higher Tax Revenues. According to academic language in a paper published by the White House Council of Tax Return used to assess the profitability of an investment project. In plain English, this means that they are likely. In plain English, this means taxes are part of this. So if you decrease the tax rate on profits, more investments will. They said even would actually this tax plan pay for itself, but it will pay down the debt, Mnuchin said, and all these other Republicans. The growth failed to materialize, though. Have you seen any growth? have higher tax revenues. Corporate tax receipts plummeted from 240 billion to 100. I'll read it again. The first quarter, and they haven't gone much higher since. So what happened? Records military spending. As a result, the federal deficit has gone up, and that's not even accounting for the COVID-19 stuff that we've seen this year. This comes as no surprise to anybody who's following this stuff. We learned it very early on in our economic stashed from overseas. Well, Republicans did their best to include as many corporate giveaways as possible in there, so that kind of made it hard. But they had this take repatriated earnings. American multinational corporations like to keep their overseas profits away from the IRS, and so they were keeping them overseas. President Trump promised that this new legislation would produce a flood of repatriated earnings amounting to $4 to $5 trillion, nearly twice the amount that corporations were actually storing overseas. I don't know. I guess they were expecting other countries to invest in us because of it. This was just another lie, one that no serious economist expected. Repatriation of normal, and the total amount of repatriations in the last quarter of 2000, perhaps as much as 9 was after that declined. Less generous. It announced a $1,000 bonus, but only for workers who've been there for 20 years. This all made for great headlines, but once the cleats went off, there was no money. In the end, Republican tax cut didn't help your wages, and it reduced your bonus. Are you mad yet? Okay, these are the 1% over here. Okay. And bottom line is the 1% got. What's going on here? What kind of country is this? Okay. And smaller than the other. That was passed. And they stayed at this high until now. It all goes to show the Republicans can accept 8% wage increases anybody. Have you seen any? No. Okay. Uh, tax ideas for too long. Many of the neoliberals on air. Watching the Kevin Stoda channel. This is Kevin Stoda on the porch for you. And I hope you have a good day. Please sign up or subscribe.